FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And in fact, this band, the band out of Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, called Once Around, was a winner of our Rock in the Dark New Music Poll about a month ago at the beginning of March. And on the phone right now, I'm talking to the lead singer, Sebastian. And first of all, Sebastian, thanks so much for joining me on The Dark. And also, hey, congratulations on becoming one of the winners of the Rock in the Dark, because what that means is your song gets spun on our airwaves here for the next couple of months straight. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.
Hey, let's talk about the band Once Around. And the question I got to ask right away is, how did this band all come about? Let's talk about that. What's the story behind your band?
Well, Once Around, it started out with just me and my brother, which is a guitar player, Ras. And we grew up on heavy metal and hard rock music from our dad. And we kind of started a little band with him, with my dad as a guitar player, and Ras is actually the drummer. So we started out just writing songs from then, and I was about 13, 14 years old. 2011, I'm pretty sure it was when we started really harnessing our musical skills and figuring out what I want to do in my life. So after that, shortly after that, we grew up. Ras switched over to guitar, found out he was better at that. And so we wanted to find, obviously members our age. And we found Bam, who plays bass. He lives a couple towns away from us. And we played My Chemical Romance's Teenagers together, and it just worked really perfectly. And then we found our drummer, which is actually my cousin, Chase. So he always has been a drummer. He's a drummer for his high school, and he likes the same musical talents we do. He's a little bit heavier heavier side, but he worked out perfectly. So that's kind of how Once Around formed for the members.
Very cool. So kind of it's family band, except with Bam. He'd be the only one that's not family, huh?
Yeah.
So I guess with that dynamic, how's it working so far with the family together? Obviously your brother and your cousin, and then Bam. How do you guys get along? Do you guys get along pretty well so far?
Yeah, it's great. We're having a great time playing these couple tours and all that kinds of stuff.
And, you mentioned tours and playing some shows and that. Have you got into much of that yet, or are you still pretty much regional right now in kind of the Wisconsin area and that, and maybe the surrounding states? What are you kind of doing right now when it comes to touring and stuff?
Well, we're just starting to get into more shows and tour typey kind of things. We had 4 shows in the last week, so we would consider that a tour. But yeah, we play mostly in Wisconsin, obviously. Mm-hmm. But we actually have a really good following in Iowa. We played quite a few shows there because my family is actually from Iowa. So we have quite a bit of a following there, too. And then we've also played I think we played 3 shows in Illinois so far, too.
Very cool.
So we're getting ourselves out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one question I like to ask bands, especially young, up-and-coming bands. And I know we talked before we started this interview. You're 18 years old. I think was your brother must be 16, Bam's 19, and then Chase is 16. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
So you're a young band, very young band, and you're trying to get noticed out there. I guess what's some of the things that you guys have been doing right now to get your name out there and get noticed?
We really emphasis on entertainment, as our rock and roll is entertainment, not just some, bar band going up there and plugging through their songs and plugging through their sets, woohoo, yada, yada. But we really drive on the Kiss, the Alice Cooper, Motley Crue kind of environments into our band that we listened to growing up, but also influence it with our more modern influences like Asking Alexandra and really big one, Black Veil Brides,
right,
and Motionless in White. Those with the makeup and the theatrics, and that's what we think is sort of missing in today's rock nowadays. The last band to really do that was Black Veil Brides and Motionless in White, and if you look, they've been out for almost 10 years now. So there hasn't been that band that's been really like kicking it hard to come out of the scene, and everyone just loves you from the beginning. So we're trying to be that next band, and I think that's really has been working well for us.
So in essence, Once Around is trying to become kind of like a glam band again. Is that, back in the 80s, I mean, there was a lot of the glam bands. They kind of went away, obviously, with alternative music, and but now, kind of like you said, picking up like the Black Veil Brides, the Motionless in White, kind of a glam metal now, you could say, huh?
Yeah.
And how is that being received out there?
Pretty good. Milwaukee is actually a lot more 80s kind of era, I would say. And in Madison, it's a little on the heavier side, which is really good because we're both of that sort of genre. We like to call it post-hardcore glam metal.
Oh, very cool.
We have the Asking Alexandra breakdowns here and there, but we also really more thrive on the big catchy choruses and the hey, hey, heys and stuff.
Right. We're talking with Sebastian. He's the lead singer of the band Once Around. It's a band out of Madison, Wisconsin. What is the music scene kind of like in Madison? I know you have JJO there, big rock station, so you'd love to be on that station, but what's kind of the music scene as a whole in central, or I guess south central Wisconsin?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, actually. We fit pretty well in the Madison scene. Everyone seems to like us and accept us. At first, I think people were intimidated by us at first because we were young and up and coming, and some people kind of hated on us for wearing the makeup and, oh, who are these kids doing here in this venue, and
right.
all that kind of stuff. But over the last year and a half, we've been pretty well accepted, and it's been going good. But the scene, yeah, it's pretty hard rockish. It's actually, like I said, a lot heavier in the Madison area, but it's pretty good for rock and roll.
Very cool, very cool. And something cool happened to you just recently. You got to vote for the first time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
How was that experience to have your right to vote? Just as you're 18, it's your first election you get to vote for.
It was pretty awesome.
Pretty cool deal, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to say who you voted for or anything like that. We'll leave that at where it's at. But anyway, I just had to bring that up because I know it's big doings over there in Wisconsin, of course, this week with the primaries and all that stuff going on. So
yeah,
a lot of excitement going on over there. Let's talk a little bit more about the band Once Around. The name Once Around. How did you guys come up with it? Is there a story behind this?
Well, we were coming up with band names, me and Raph. And we just couldn't find anything. Like, it's so hard to come up with band names nowadays. There's so many bands out there, so many cool and different ideas. It's hard not to come up with something cool and then, and ended up being like really cheesy or something. But we had a couple names, like Headache was going to be it for once, and it was like spelled a little differently.
Okay.
High Class Trash, we were almost called.
I like that one.
Yeah. But then Once Around came up, and we originally got the idea from the Cinderella song, Once Around the Ride.
Nice.
So, yeah, and that came about when we were trying to think about a meaning for it. It just means you only live once in this life, and a band like this, like Once Around, only comes once around.
Very cool. Do you have sisters too or not?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wrath, and then I have a younger brother.
Okay, I was wondering where the Cinderella all came about. That's funny. Hey, we're talking with Sebastian. Of course, he's the lead singer of the band Once Around, and you'd mentioned kind of influenced a little bit by your parents listening to music and that, and you've kind of mentioned a little bit of some of the influences that you had. Currently, right now, in the active rock side of things, what bands are you kind of digging right now? Who are you liking out there?
Obviously, Black Veil Brides, but like I said, they've been out for about almost 10 years
right.
now. But we still really dig them. Those bands are still putting out, new music and stuff.
Yep.
So I'd say that. Recently, like a really, really new band.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to. We listen to Beartooth quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
A drummer, Chase, he's mostly into them. Ben's more on the punk side, so he likes, I can't think of that band he likes. I don't know, but I know there's some older bands he likes, like the Germs. Like he's like real hardcore. Into
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But newer bands, Asking Alexandra, Blackville Brides, Motionless in White. The Last Vegas, we actually just played a show with them last Thursday. It was really awesome. Those guys are really cool.
Very cool, yeah. That kind of leads into my next question, Sebastian, a little bit. Is there anybody in the industry right now that's kind of helping you along, maybe even starting to say, hey, guys, let's help you a little bit, Lamenter, because you guys are at such a young age, obviously, and it's not an easy business to get into. I mean, everybody wants to be a rock star, but so few can actually do it. Is there anybody that's helped you along the way right now?
Yeah, for sure. Number one, I'd say is our manager, which is actually my dad, Michael. He really pushes us along, and we've met some really great promoters along the way. Like I'd say Greg Delman from 301 Productions out of Madison. He's really helped us a lot. And Tom Hooks from Rock Is Not Dead Entertainment. Those guys really push Once Around, get ourselves out there and stuff. They do anything they can for us. So I'd say those people.
How about this? You obviously being a lead singer in that, and I've never seen you perform yet. I've heard your song Idol in that. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Is there somebody, I guess, that you've kind of looked up to as a lead singer, fronting a band that you've kind of looked at and say, boy, I kind of want to be like that? Or do you kind of want to be your own self? I mean, everybody wants to be their own self, but is there somebody, I guess, you've kind of looked up to help you out in the position you're in?
Definitely. There's a lot. There's quite a bit of people, I'd say. Like you said, I always want to try to be myself, and that's the number one thing.
Right.
Try to create something new to your audience. But I'd say I'd like to. There's just so many bands. I'd like to mix Andy Biersack of Blackville Brides and Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mix those two.
That'd be cool. Yeah, you see, Andy's got a new band called, Andy Black, I guess, and a new song out too here. Which we just got about a week ago. So he's kind of branching off a little bit right now from Blackville Brides.
Yeah, he's making his own solo thing. I really dig it.
Let's talk about you and playing out in shows and stuff. If I would come to a Once Around concert, what would I expect? So I'm walking in for the first time. Obviously, you're on the bill with a couple other bands that are there. You're kind of a front band, a first band. What would I expect to see you when I'm there that night?
You'd expect lots of high energy, lots of jumping up and down, lots of smoke and fire and all, the whole 9 yards, and lots of crowd interactions, and within the first 3 seconds of the song, you'll be hooked in.
Very cool, very cool. And obviously, you just said you wrapped up doing 4 shows here in about a week. How did your voice handle that, being out there 4 times in a week?
It was pretty good. I actually just got over. I'm still getting over, but it's actually the best it's been. It came back Thursday night. My voice did. I've been getting over some laryngitis, like, pretty bad. But, yeah, last Thursday, my voice, like, came back all of a sudden. I was really worried about it because it was with the Las Vegas show.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, so I was like, dang, is it going to come back or not? And so I just went for it, and it just was there.
It's
a really great show. It's actually one of our best shows we've played so far.
It's amazing how adversity, you just got to do it, and how many of these artists that are out there have issues day in and day out, and you don't even notice it. You just have to fight through it, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
It's crazy. Hey, let's talk about the current song you have, Idol, which was our winner of the Rock in the Dark New Music Poll. What's the story? What's kind of the meaning behind that song?
Well, Idol came about during practice. We just really wanted to write some of that really heavy, like, more next level kind of stuff on our EP for Once Around. So we just start playing. And the riff came about right away, and then the chorus came out just, like, instantly for some reason. But the melodies and all stuff just was there. And so we actually have, like, 5 different versions of this song, believe it or not. But
wow.
When we finally decided that we wanted to record this for the single, we rewrote it again, and it's the best version, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't have recorded this version. But it's about I really hit home to me with these lyrics. I really wanted to get more of my lyrical side of me out there, rather than the EP did. So it's about that you're not alone in the world, and that Once Around can be your idols of music and your heroes of rock and roll.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, let's ask you this question, and it's maybe a question you haven't thought of, but in 5 to 10 years, where would you like to see yourself in this band, Once Around, be?
I'd like to see us in Hollywood or around there at the top. Definitely in 5 years, I'd like to see us getting pretty much way up there. Because you only get this chance once. You can't go back like you can for college or something like that. So we really strive to push ourselves every day. Just keep go.
Very cool. And obviously, I'm assuming you're getting spun at Madison Radio there. And how about radio stations so far around the area, and maybe for that matter, the region, even the country? Are they finding out about you a little bit, or how's that going, I guess, for radio airplay?
It's actually going really good. We had a little success with our EP with the song Lovesick, and saying it got played at the Dubuque station, 97.3 The Rock. They were pretty cool to us. But actually, Idol got us the most success with your station, obviously, and it's getting played on 16 different stations in the U.S., so mostly in Wisconsin. But
that's awesome. Have you heard your song played on the radio yet?
Yes, I have. What's
that feel like to hear your song on the radio?
It's unreal, man. It's just the coolest thing ever. I just imagine, the bands I look up to, hearing their song for the first time on the radio and then comparing it to myself. It's just a dream come true.
That is cool. We're talking with Sebastian from Once Around. You mentioned bands that you kind of grew up with or liked. How about this? Let's ask you this question. If you had to put together your ultimate 3-band build to play with, so you guys are going on a little national tour here, let's say this summer, okay? Who would you like to play with? Once Around's going to go out with. What other bands would you like to play with this year?
Oh, I would say for my ultimate dream lineup would be Once Around, obviously, would be touring with, I don't know the order exactly, but it'd be with Falling in Reverse.
Okay.
Black Veil Brides for sure.
Yep.
And dang, it's so hard. There's so many bands. Oh, shoot.
I could see you playing like with Alice Cooper. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, I could definitely see that.
How about the Hollywood Vampires? That'd be cool, huh?
If you want to get really up there, I'd say Marilyn Manson. He's actually one of my biggest influences, too.
I was just going to say with that would be the other side of it, too, with Marilyn. That would be fun. It'd just be cool just to hang out with Marilyn for a day or two, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Just to kind of pick his brain a little bit and see how he's gotten where he's gotten.
God, yeah, that would be such an awesome tour.
And that's the thing. I think that's the cool thing for you. You guys are young, and you're going to get a chance. You're going to get heard out there. There's going to be a lot of bands that have proven themselves in the industry that are going to look at you and going, hey, this is a cool band, and kind of get behind you. And I think that's where you're going to be able to learn from these other bands out there willing to help you. I think the industry realizes that we need younger bands, newer bands coming up here, and those older bands that have been established need to kind of be a mentor to you a little bit. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
And I guess what's your state? Let's talk about the state of rock for a minute, because you're coming in young here, and I'm a little bit older than you. Okay, a lot older than you, but anyway. But the thing is, though, back when I was spinning radio, songs and that, I mean, I grew up spinning Nirvana for the first time, and all these, the Green Days, the Alice in Chains, they're all Hall of Fame bands now. What is the state of rock, I guess, in your mind as a youngster, And where do you think you guys can go, I guess, with rock radio in that?
I definitely agree with you. I think, more of these big festivals that they have nowadays, it's in the last couple of years they've been bringing in, Def Leppard or, those kind of bands, and Alice Cooper and, who did I see? Whitesnake I saw a couple of years ago. Those bands, like, they're great songs, and those songs will never die, obviously, but it's time coming up to realize that, those eventually, sad to say, but those people will be gone in the next 10 or so years, and
right.
And it's just time to get into the new and up-and-comers. Like, I know Black Veil Bride's got huge hate for what they're doing, but I don't understand that because, they got called the Kiss and Motley Crue ripoffs.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're getting. And it's funny because they call us Black Veil Bride's ripoffs. So,
I could see that.
Yeah.
But,
people need to start accepting it. And
right.
It's the truth, and it's the future of rock and roll. That's what we are. And more, that's what it is.
And I think the cookie cutter, you got to kind of cut that out a little bit with rock radio has become a little bit stale. What I'm really liking now on rock radio, and I know I'm kind of jumping on my soapbox here a little bit, but bands like Asking Alexandria, bands like Trivium, bands like Of Mice and Men would have never been played on regular rock radio. Now they're getting that opportunity, and now those kind of bands are really starting to flourish.
Oh, for sure.
And which is really cool because it's now opening up this whole new avenue of rock. And it's not just the old kind of cookie cutter rock. It's really opened it up a lot. So I think the future is definitely bright for rock artists out there. And the biggest thing now for a band like you is got to get your name out there, got to be heard, and got to be believed in a lot too by not only people on radio but your fans too.
Yep, a lot of people say rock is dead, but people just don't know bands like us are out there.
Well, that's what we love doing here. We love discovering new bands here on The Dark. And how do more people find out about your band Once Around? How can they get more information about you?
Well, we have a couple of websites. We have, you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/oncearoundband. We have a couple stuff up on YouTube, youtube.com/oncearoundmusic. And we're on Twitter, which is oncearoundband. We have a Reverb Nation, just reverbnation.com/oncearound. We're on Spotify, iTunes, CD Baby, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Now, how are we going to get you to Minnesota here? Because you said you play Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, but I didn't hear Minnesota yet.
Actually, what I was going to mention, we're going on our first ever tour this July.
Awesome.
Midwest tour. So there is one Minnesota date.
All right. We can't announce that yet, though?
I have some of the dates. I mean, we're playing July 2nd through July 29th. I know it's at the end of July in Minnesota.
Awesome. Well, we'll find out about that, and when we do, we'll make sure everybody knows about it, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Sebastian, I'll let you go here, but we're going to play your latest song, Idol. Thanks so much for joining me, by the way. Best of luck to you. Say hi to the bandmates, and hopefully we get a chance to see you sometime soon up here in central Minnesota.
All right, man, will do. Thank you so much.
Once again, that is Sebastian. He's with the band Once Around. It's a band out of Madison, Wisconsin. We're not going to hold it against him because are you a Packer fan or not?
No, I'm not. I'm actually a Vikings fan.
Oh, now we like this band, right, Central Minnesota? Here's Sebastian, the Viking fan out of Wisconsin. Their latest song is called Idol. You're hearing it right now on FM 94's The Dark.